What's up, you guys? Blue-EyesWhiteBoiiiiii here for another video, and today we have the deck profile of first turn triple Quasar with Fabled. And now I'm really excited about it, not because I haven't made a video in over 3 months, but because I have made a video right now, and that's really exciting for me. I'm going to get into the deck profile. The link for the actual video where I get it is right here in the top left. But as you can see, Glow Up Bulb is at 1 and Formula is at 3, which is a pretty cool thing, especially when you're looking for 3 Quasars. It's actually possible to get it without Soul Charge, just because you have the 3 formulas. I mean, it's possible without 3 formulas to get 3 without Soul Charge, but it's much harder. So yeah, as you can see, it's much different than what it used to be before. But yeah, so let's just talk about every card individually, and we will go from there. So 3 Grimro, I think you need 3. Krus, this is a good one. I mean, you can have 1, 2, or 3, just like it was before. Kind of moving it around. It can be dead in your starting hand. And there's some dead cards that are not good with that. So I kind of got frustrated when I was making this deck. I put a lot of testing in. This was actually the first time I tested this exact deck, so this deck might actually be worse than previous versions. But I was kind of just getting frustrated, and I just wanted it to work, so I threw in 3 Raven and 3 Nizuchi, and they actually work way better together. Like, if you're going to have 3 Raven, you want to have 3 Nizuchi. If you're going to have 3 Nizuchi, then you kind of want 3 Raven, because Nizuchi can special summon Raven. And the normal summon's a really competitive piece of the deck, because Glow Bulb, Level Eater, Tuning Ware, which I'll get to, all want to get normal summoned. As well as there's just sometimes where you just need to normal summon a Ganesha or a Cerebral to get things moving. So yeah, 3 Raven. I mean, this is like the crazy part of the deck, because I've always done it with 1 or 2, or even 0. I've gotten triple with 0. But if you look at the discard fodder in this particular version of the deck, I just have the 3 dealings and Monster Reincarnation and like a couple other things. So Nizuchi and Raven kind of do that job, and that's kind of what I was going for with that. Birdman is actually not a great card. Not good at all, really. And I actually put in Catastor just because of him, because he can make Librarian with Nizuchi, but if Librarian's already out, then he can't really make it 5. But he's pretty much viable when you have 3 Nizuchi, because Nizuchi can get some pretty cool combos where you get to special summon Fabled, and then he comes out, and then he bounce it, and then it comes back to the deck, and then you can special summon again and re-synchro. There are also some, cases where you can bounce Cawwww and Cerebral, and sometimes even Grimro. Grimro is cool. I mean, you get something like, you open Cawwww and Cerebral with Grimro and Birdman, and you can easily go Cawwww into Cerebral, ditch Grimro, search something, or search Krus, and then like Darkwood Dealings, or like something where you discard Krus, and then Krus special summons Grimro, and then you could bounce Grimro for Birdman and use Grimro again. So those are some kind of cool plays. I have a version as well with DDR, where you can like special summon Ganesha, and then Birdman removes himself all the time. So, moving on, Glow Up Bulb. This is a pretty cool card. I actually, back when Glow Up Bulb wasn't banned, I was trying to run him a lot, and it was never really working out. Sometimes it would, but sometimes it can be dead in your hand. It doesn't have Fabled in its name, so it's kind of tough. If it uses the normal summon, then yeah, it kind of pays for itself, because you get to special summon it. But the milling is okay. It's not as good as it is in other decks by any means. If you mill a Fabled, then Krus can go off and have more targets. If you mill like a Raven, well, that's good. Gives more soul charge targets, so that's good. But most spells that you mill is just not going to be good because sometimes, for example, if you mill soul charge, then you probably won't be getting triple Quasars as easily. But yeah, global was great for Foolish Barrel. It totally makes it work. So you got Level Eater and Global, which are great Foolish Barrel targets. If you draw one, you can just Foolish the other one. Of course, Foolish Barrel is just a good card. If you have Krus, you could Foolish Raven. Obviously, it's a -1, but sometimes there are plays where you open triple Grimrow and you need a Raven in there, or some like Fabled target. You like really need it in there. So here we go right here. Or actually, yeah, I skipped over Nezuchi, but okay, I'll get to Ayer's Rock Sunrise because this is a really great card in the deck. But Tuning Ware. Let's talk about Tuning Ware. If it's used for a Synchro summon, you could treat it as level 2 monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard for a Synchro summon, draw 1 card. Now, if the only way you can get it out, as you can notice, is normal summoning it, right? I mean, sure, you could like soul charge it, but 1 for 1 is kind of how I get it out a lot of the times. So if you open like 1 for 1 plus Cawwww plus Day Synchro, you can see how powerful that is, right? Because Cawwww is going to sync into Tuning Ware for formula. That's going to draw 1. Tuning Ware, you draw 1. So yeah, you're looking pretty good right there. And then the Day Synchro is going to be your Pot of Greed in that situation where it's going to +1. Because you're just going to resync into formula again. Now, if you have Librarian out, it's obviously going to be another card, so that's a really big thing. And you'll see in the Triple Quasar video, I did use this guy pretty well. And if 1 for 1 wasn't a card, then I think he'd be dead a lot of the times. And we also have Double Summon in the deck. So Double Summon's a really great card. I'm going to skip over Ayer's Sunrise again, talk about Double Summon, because it really goes a lot with the Tuning Ware, the Global, Level Eater, and the Ravens, because you really need a second Double Summon, or a second summon in the turn a lot of the time. When you go for your Raging plays, which is the biggest part of the deck, Raging plus Librarian is the biggest combo in the deck, and it's good for decks like this where it essentially special summons a monster out of your hand. Sure, it's a neg, but you get that back. Yeah, it's advantageous most of the time. So Ayer's Rock Sunrise. Let's talk about this. Target 1 beast. I already know this is for another deck. Like, this was made for another deck, but this goes like super well in this deck. You can only activate 1 per turn, so we're only running 1, obviously. If Soul Charge was at 3, it's really a great idea to run 2 or 3, even though you can only activate 1 per turn, because you kind of get it earlier in the turn, and it's just more consistent to get out the first Quasar, 1 Quasar, and then you can just discard the other copies. And but at 1, it's like perfect because it'll never clog, and you only get 1 per turn anyway. So you can special summon any beast in your graveyard, and that's all it does. But look at how many beasts we have. We have Nezuchi, Cawwww, and that's another reason why I want to run 3 Nezuchi, because there's some times where you can actually bring him out. But we have Cawwww and then Cerebral. So look, we have that many choices. I mean, a card like Allure of Darkness, you need, 6 or 9 Dark Monsters in order to be able to run it? Well, for a Monster Reborn, how many targets do you need here? So we have, 3, 6, 9. And also, Cawwww's searchable, Cerebral searchable, Nezuchi is searchable. Really quick, so yeah, it's obviously really good. But also, I took out Army Arm for Unicorn, and this is actually something I'll talk about right now. There's pros and cons to both of these. Army Arm is obviously a really good card because you can get out triple Quasar plus Army Arm and attach it to a Quasar, and that's really, really strong, and it looks good on video and stuff. But this guy has Fabled in his name, so you can search Grimro, or you can use Grimro, target it. Also, it's a beast, so it's good for Ayers. As you can see, Grimro's level 4, but it's a fiend. So if you want more options, he's going to be in your graveyard sometimes. So, I mean, there's that. Yeah, Army Arm, you can kind of remove it from the field, give yourself more room sometimes. So it's kind of, it almost comes down to personal preference, although I don't like that because there generally is a right or wrong card in any given format. For like the meta, for example, there's like one card is usually better than the other. So when people say, oh, it's personal preference, you know, if you ran a situation a million times, one card's going to be better than the other card. But it's personal preference. Okay, Dark Hole Dealings 3, it's a must-have. It's great because you can set it and then you can set it. It's kind of like Upstart in the sense that you can set it and then do your plays and then activate it later. Since it speed spell 1. It's also great to have just the draw power and the discarding power. It's rarely a terrible card. Day Synchro, MVP pretty much. It's a really great card. It's at least an Upstart. I mean, if you have just a naked formula where you just have something like a Love Leader plus Cawwww or a Glow Up Bulb and a Lurrie, I mean, it's at least going to pay for itself. And if you watch this video, this link over here, you're going to see that I went Nezuchi, Raven effect, discard 1. He's level 3 now. Level 3, Synchro for 5. And I'll get the Ragin or the Librarian. Actually, I think I went Ragin every time in this situation. And then I would Day Synchro, and I would take the Raven and the Nezuchi back, and the Raven would go back to level 2. So then I would get to discard again. So then when I would have dead monsters like Love Leader or Glow Bulb, I could just Day Synchro and then use Raven to discard them. That way I'd have less cards in my hand, so Ragin could do more stuff. This is just an amazing deck in general. You're never going to get in the same situation twice where you open with the same 5 cards or anything like that. There's just so much variety in a single-player deck. This is like one of the best single-player decks in the game, in my opinion. Let's talk about Soul Charge, I guess. In my video, I didn't charge myself 3,000 life points because even though I took out 3 monsters, I already had 2 Quasars, but that's not why I didn't do it. It was just the guy had left earlier in the a little bit earlier in the turn. So I didn't charge myself. I didn't soul charge myself. But it's just kind of a broken card. It shouldn't be in the game. A lot of people say that, but the way that the game is now, well, like back in the day, you could top deck Monster Reborn like in a rogue deck and win the game that turn. This time you have to wait till next turn, and by that time, I mean it's okay. So you lost your life points, but then they go like Exile Knight or Exiton Knight or something like that. So the card is really it's broken, obviously, but it's not as overpowered as some people think, because, well, in a regular deck. In this deck, obviously, it's overpowered, but and broken. But you know, you don't get to attack that turn. You don't get to win that turn. So it's whatever. But you know, in this deck, if you can get 2 monsters off, then it kind of is better than Monster Reborn, just from the 2 monsters that you get. I would like it if it said something like they must be different types, or they must have different attributes. You know what I mean? Or they must have, like, I don't know, if there's some like bigger limitations on things. Or it must be, how about this? It must be 3, 4, or 5 that you can special summon. So you can't just special summon 1 or 2. Something like that. I mean, it's just kind of a bad design, and people generally are right when they talk bad about this card. So, you know, it'll be gone next format, not too big of a deal. It gives the deck a boost, but like I said, you know, it makes the deck more consistent, but without the card, it would still be fine, just because there's so many other broken cards in the game. Finally, Upstart Goblin. one of the best cards in the deck. No, I'm just kidding. It's a funny card. It's always been a fun card. You know, you throw it down, you draw one. But in this deck, it really is slightly better than that. If you have your combo where you have Librarian and you have a Rage incoming and you top deck an Upstart, the first thing you're going to want to do is activate it, but that's usually the wrong play in a lot of cases. Now, there's pros and cons to activating it. The pros being you get more information because you know what your top deck is going to be. So you activate it, you get that card. For example, if you have something like a Krus in hand with a Dealings, and then you have something like a Cawwww or something like that. So if you just had Cawwww, Krus, and Upstart, then yeah, you know you're gonna, or let's say the top deck is a Dealings. Let's just say. So I mean you can discard Krus for Cawwww into your plays, but if you knew you had the Darkwood Dealings, you might do something else in some situations. So that's the upside of like activating Upstart Goblin. The downside of upgrading it is sometimes you'll miss a plus. Sometimes it's good to just set the Upstart and then use your Cawwww and Krus, discard the Krus, special summon Cawwww, special summon Grimro, let's say, go into Rage and draw 3 cards. Now, if you were to do an Upstart Goblin and you were to top deck a monster, which is really likely in this deck, as you can see, you're gonna lose a full plus for your Raging combo, which is kind of a big deal. If you draw it, and let's say you top deck something like Synchro, another Upstart, and Soul Charge in that situation. Well, now you can set the Upstart, set the Soul Charge, activate Synchro, and draw 3 more cards again. You can see how, like, okay, so I just disconnected. Oops. There's no downside to the card activating it early. Except, you know, you could deck yourself out, I guess. Giving them life points doesn't matter. So yeah, the card is needed. Now, on that same note, let's talk about Into the Void. I want to talk about Into the Void because I've played actually a couple games with it, and you know, obviously it's a good card. It does have the same benefits of Upstart, where you could set it, do your play, draw 3. But if you are in the first stages of the game and you're doing some desperation rage in plays, last card you want to see is Into the Void, top decking it. Like, you go just Cerebral, Ganesha, Synchro into Rage and draw 2, and you open like you draw a Glow Bulb and Into the Void, and you can't activate Into the Void. So you kind of have to balance it with that. If you do ever play someone, they don't leave, and you decide you want to do a turn 2 and turn 3, you know, you are going to have to discard your hand, which kind of stinks. Obviously, a lot of the monsters have discard effects, but if you really wanted to get super nitty with the deck and go and maximize the expected value, you could run it Into the Void or 2 or 3. Because, you know, improving the deck flow by, for example, if you run 3, it's 9%. You increase the deck flow by 9% because instead of a 40 card, it's a 37. But again, sometimes you'll be dead. Sometimes it'll be better than that. In the examples I shared with the Upstart. So Into the Void is just a great card. And it's an honorable mention because sometimes I will run it, and I just think, yeah, I like it. I mean, I like the card. Hold on a second. So, okay, continuing on, let's talk about Monster Reincarnation, because I didn't really talk about too much about this one, and I don't really know too much about this, in the sense, like, I can't really brag about it or say it's terrible, but it discards, and it discards as a cost, as you can see this semicolon right here. So it discards as a cost. Well, what does that mean for this deck? Well, Ganesha, it says when this card is discarded to the graveyard, special summon it. It doesn't say when it's discarded by an effect. So because of that, all of these cards work with costs, and that's actually a big deal with cards like this. And also, I mean, I could throw this card in the same boat, Magical Stone. was a great card when you had Pot of Avarice, when you had Monster Reborn, and even Day Synchro. It can be good, but I mean, you're spending 3 cards potentially just to get a Day Synchro, where a Pot of Avarice is definitely worth it in that situation, especially back when you only had one formula. But so yeah, Monster Reincarnation, it can get monsters back. I would recommend Cerebral or, I don't know, Grimro or something, but discarding can be a good thing. If you've already used your 3 formula, you can put one of those back. I've actually done that before. So yeah, it's a 1. I mean, it could really be 0. You could do it without it. In my opinion, you could do that. Let's talk about Lurrie. I know I'm jumping around, but Lurrie, I only ran 1, and that was actually a really smart idea. Running less than 1 is a really bad idea, because for one, you can he's a target for this. So if you have like Level Eater in your hand, you can discard Level Eater and special summon Lurrie. That's kind of the only situation you would do it with that. Or if you need a Fabled name and a level 1 non-tuner, you could do it in that situation as well. So there's just that. The other thing is that Grimro can search all of these monsters, and if you need a level 1 non-tuner, let's say you have way too many other stuff, then you need to search him. However, having 2 is kind of a waste. It's a waste of a top deck. It's a waste of a lot of things. And Level Eater is your non-tuner for the whole turn. He can jump in using Quasars as the star. It eats stars. So, or I'm sorry, it eats levels. I guess it does eat stars, huh? But it eats the levels, and it comes in, and he's pretty much going to be good for the whole turn. And there's so many ways to get to Level Eater through drawing it, Foolish Barrow, 1-for-1, that you could almost do away with Lurrie, but I really would not recommend that at all. Now, is there any cards I haven't talked about yet? One Day of Peace. Again, same thing as Upstart. It kind of makes my skin crawl. I'm kind of glad I went to 1 because it gives me more creativity in the deck. I would be forced to run more than 1, which kind of stinks because, well, I don't know. I just don't really know about this card. As far as like, I don't like it as much as Upstart for some reason. I don't know. It's just too good. I always feel like if I go second, I'm playing, and then it's like, I have to use this because I have to go off. But I kind of want to just get 1 Quasar OTK and then like use it turn 2 or main phase 2. But you can't use it main phase 2. So I don't know. This card kind of makes me sick. Obviously, you have to use it. When I was at 3A, I was actually just running 2 because I just didn't like it. I don't know if it's this guy. He's being lazy. He's like, it's supposed to be a samurai. He's supposed to be working on the job, and he's just sitting, and he's just looking at this, like his helmet that he just made, and he's really going into his own dream world. This flame has been, burning for a while, and somehow it stays in there. It's just not for me, not for me at all. Alright, so let's go to the more side deck cards. Where Art Thou? I was actually running 3 of this. I think it's a good card. I think it's really good at 1. I kind of just took it out just to test it without it. Every once in a while I was dead, and I realized, so let's read the card. If you control a face-up level 1 monster, add 1 level 1 monster from your deck to your hand. During the end phase of this turn, take 2,000 damage if you did not normal summon the added monster or a card with the same name. So, okay, you can tell it's really good. I mean, let's say you open with Foolish, and then you Foolish glow up effect, special summon, and now, boom, it's online. So you can see how all the situations where it becomes online. If you open one of these 3, you can normal summon it and use it. Cawwww, Lurrie, etc. You can special summon these guys. Well, if you actually do some math, there's only 7 of these and 1 Foolish. That's 8. So there's only 8 cards that'll actually make the card online. First of all, it does have the advantage of being like a Rhoda, where it's settable. Like you could just set it and then go off the same way as Upstart Goblin. But is it that great being able to choose a level 1 from your deck and adding it to your hand? Well, kind of. If you have a dealings or some discard outlets, it can be really good. If you have it normal, it can be really great with tuning Ware. And I've just found that it's kind of a good card. If you have 3, I mean they stack. You can search all 3 level 1s. I have found running 3 or 2, they get dead later in the turn. But I just wanted to bring this out, even though this card's probably going to be in one of my future videos in a future deck. I just wanted to brag about it right now, since you guys are watching this deep into the video, and you may have already seen it at the beginning of the video and said, "Oh, where art thou?" Like, whoa! And as you can see, there's a little puppy right there, and he's just like, "Rrrr." And it's always great to have cute animals in your decks and in your cards, as you can see. So where art thou? Great card. Searches for tuning Ware, normal summon, day synchro. Do all your plays. If you don't have it, then you'll be even more frustrated if you don't have any level 1s. Reasoning is, wow, it's a crazy card. Well, first of all, if you have spells that you like in your deck, then you're going to lose those, but who cares, because they all turn into Upstart Goblins as they go into the graveyard, because you thin your deck. But there is that 1 in, I don't know, 1 in 7 chance that they get it right. Your opponent can't leave. If they leave, now you can't use reasoning, right? So this is a reasonable card in the sense that you can special summon a card from your deck, just special summon it out there. And tuning Ware is a great one if that comes out. In the middle of the turn, your opponent, if they're smart, is going to call 1, or they'll call 2 if they see a Raven out there. And if you open with it, then they're probably going to call 4, in which case they could still pick off a Grimro. I mean, they could call 7 or 8. A lot of people do that because reasoning decks are big stuff, in which case it'll always get off. But I'd say it's just mediocre at best. I've tried it. It's really like not terrible, but it's not like the nuts either. Iron Call, this was great back when I ran. I think I had a double or triple Quasar video where I just had tuning Ware, and then I would, shock them, and then 2 more would come out from the deck, and then Iron Call would be great because you can special summon Formula. Back when there was 2, you can special summon tuning Ware. So Machine Dupe plus tuning Ware is just really, really, really powerful. You go normal summon tuning Ware, or in that I would run at least 1 Where Art Thou. So you can actually, first of all, you're going to have 3 level 1 tuning Wares on top of everything else, but you're going to be able to machine dupe them every once in a while. And when you do, just throw in 1 level 1 tuner or a level 2 tuner, and then you can synchro into Librarian draw 3. So if you guys are patient enough to wait around for the machine dupe combo, and you can really only run 1 machine dupe, because otherwise it's going to neg you later in the turn, then Iron Call is a viable choice. I mean, if you control a machine type monster, target 1 level 4 level machine in your graveyard, special summon it. So you can special summon tuning Ware or Formula, and that's kind of the point. And in the case where you have Birdman in your deck, then you can also special summon him. Kind of funny, but if he somehow gets to the graveyard, or if he's on the field. If he's on the field, then Iron Call is live. Instant Fusion, if you had an unlimited extra deck, Instant Fusion is actually a really great card, and I would run it just because Cawwww plus Instant Fusion is a Librarian or a Ragin. Same with Cerebral. Or Raven. I mean, if you really have an unlimited extra deck, you can really use Instant Fusion. You can only use 1 per turn, so you can only run 1. And then Dandelion. Dandelion's a cool card. Of course, it uses your normal summon, and then Synchro for whatever, and then you get tokens. Tokens, again, turns on the Where Art Thou. So, if you want to do that, you could Foolish Burial, and now you get tokens. it's just a fun card. You could even do double lone fire with spore, and you could throw in that engine. And I've done that as well, and it's fun, but it doesn't really go anywhere a lot of the time. So, yep, that's pretty much it. That is my deck profile, and a lot of you guys, and when I say a lot of you guys, I mean like 5 people, like 4 people or 5 people. They're just like, hey, when are you going to make a video? When are you going to make a video? I want a 30-minute deck profile. I want a 40-minute deck profile. I want a 50-minute deck profile. And, you know, I would love to do that. In fact, I would love to do that. Like, whoa. Like, I would, and I guess technically there's nothing stopping me from doing it. I haven't really had any knockout moments where I do make a deck that is actually getting so many Quasars so often. And admittedly, well, we start off with one less card now. We start off with one less card, and that is kind of a big deal to get your engine going because, I mean, there was a lot of times where I'd start off with 6 cards back in the day with Monster Reborn, with Pot of Avarice and everything, and it would just not work out. And the fact that it's 22% less cards in your hand to start the turn, it makes it that much harder. Obviously, you're closer to 0 cards. That way, you can get Rage's effect more often. Just like Infernities have an easier chance to do their stuff because you have less chance of getting more monsters. But honestly, it's not a good thing. Starting with less cards. When they first were going to make the rule change, and they said, "Hey guys, no drawing for the first turn." I thought it was no drawing, like no drawing, like no upstart, no card D, no Dark World dealings, like no drawing at all because you're going first. And although that's fair and it's technically good for the game, I guess it's really not good for the game. It's really not good for me. It's really not good for my for business at all. It's not good for OTKs and FTKs. And one could argue that those shouldn't be in the game, but if you're good enough to make a FTK deck with the thousands of cards that they have and how they try to balance the cards, then you should have it until the ban list. You should be able to keep those. And come on, let us draw. And then they did. So I was like, okay, good. Wow. Otherwise, you were gonna have to pick second, and then everyone's like fighting over. Well, yeah, I'd say a lot of decks would fight over second. But yeah, by the way, guys, going first is better. Just going off on a little tangent. Going first is just better in general because you get to set your field. It depends on your deck, but obviously in this deck we're going first. We don't need the 6th card. If we do get our 6th card, I mean, you'd really have to know your opponent. You'd have to know. It would have to be in a 2 out of 3 where you would want to go second against Lightsworns or something like that. Like someone with no back row. If they get a Solemn, then that Solemn is going to be worth a lot more than a +1 because they're going to be able to, Solemn your Librarian or Raging. Honestly, a Book of Moon, like if I started with an extra card and my opponent started with a Book of Moon, then that would be terrible for us as well. So you can imagine if they have 2, if they have a Bottomless and something else, then yeah, we're going first, basically, is what I'm saying. But the deck's biggest hit that it took recently was the fact that it starts off with one last card, because it's kind of like banning. It's kind of like where Pot of Greed's at 1 and now Pot of Greed's banned for this deck, because Pot of Greed's a +1. But this is actually even worse because there were games back when Pot of Greed was at 1 where you wouldn't draw it. Like, you wouldn't even draw Pot of Greed. So you didn't even have that +1 for sure. But in this deck, we did always have that +1. We had the 6th card to start, and now we're, starting with 5 cards. The benefit, though, is that a lot of people do choose to go second. And because they go to second, you can actually lose the rock, paper, scissors and still go first. And I found that that's pretty cool. Because a lot of decks will let you go first. Yes. I guess we'll go through the extra decks since you guys are still watching. That's pretty cool. Vulcan of the Divine, level 6. He's obviously good in some very rare situations where they have a face-up monster somehow, and then you could bounce it, and then like get stuff back to your hand, but not just back to your hand, but because you can't really use it late on the turn, but mostly to bounce himself or to bounce something else back to free the field up, because you only get 5 slots on the field. But he's just good because he's just level 6. There's not really anything better. If you want to be super serious about the game, you can take a Goyo or something else. But with Brio, if there was Brio still, oh man, like if that card came back to 1 for a format, this card would be, I mean, this deck would be amazing because you would have unlimited discard fodder. You could almost, I mean, you could probably run without Reincarnation, maybe less dealings. I think I'd just design the whole deck differently. It would make 6s a lot more. Glow Up would be way better. Love Leader would be better, because you can discard those. And Brio was just so fun and OP. But yeah, there's no that, and this is not even close to Brio at all. He can't even like, you can only bounce it 1 time, and they have to have a monster, which doesn't happen. So you can replace this if you want. Quasar. Should we talk about Quasar? I kind of like shooting Quasar Dragon. You can just solemn it. Just solemn it. No, I'm just kidding. So as you can see in this, I don't have a shooting star dragon because I don't know. Okay, so I'm trying to get 3 Quasars, and I really need all of this space. Like as you can see, I don't even have a level 8 in this deck right now, because the level 3 is actually better for a lot of reasons. But I don't have the 8, and if I did have the 8, I would kind of want to have the shooting star dragon, because there is that small chance I open up with triple Quasar plus shooting star, which I've never been able to do. I don't know if someone else has. I know hundreds of people play this deck now. But yep, moving on. 3 of those standard. Level 3 Mistbird. So this guy's great. I mean, whoa. I like him because not only does he work with Formula plus Level Leader plus Lurrie, but he also works with Cerebral plus Lurrie plus Level Leader. I mean, he works with Nezuchi plus Cawwww, Nezuchi plus Glow-a-Bulb. Like, Nezuchi has a lot more merit in the deck. There's much bigger excuse to run Nezuchi now than pre-Bird age. Although I was running 1 because you can search it with Grimo. And he really makes those really powerful all-monster hands even more powerful. But since I had 3, I kind of convinced myself to throw in a Birdman, because bouncing him gives me, the 4th one in the deck. And since I have 3 Raven, I was just like, whatever, Birdman. Even though Birdman's usually a pretty dead card a lot of times, because he doesn't have Fabled in its name, and it can't really discard itself or anything like that. So it can kind of clog. But tangent again. He's level 3. He works with Librarian, obviously, but he also can. I'll give you an example. Doubles. Let's say we have a hand where we have double Cerebral, double Dealings. Okay, and we have a Level Leader. So the combo is, it's like, oh wow, I can't do anything. Well, Dealings, discard Cerebral. Dealings, discard Cerebral. Normal summon Level Leader. Let's say we drew nothing on those cards and everything. Well, now we can go Cerebral into Level Leader into Bird, and then Bird into Cerebral into either Librarian or Raging. That's just good. You need him in order to parlay into bigger things. There's nothing wrong with using him in Formula now either, because you have 3 formulas, so it's kind of disposable. It's really powerful. Formula 3. Yeah, I would say 3. I made a video where I was quite happy when it went to 2. And some people thought I was going to make a video when it went to 3, but this is what you're going to get for that. Formula is, wow. I mean, it's a race car. It's a really great card. It used to be worth a lot, but because my friend used to have one. I think he sold it for not that much, but yeah, Formula. It's a game-breaking card. I like that they have it at 3. It's not, it was kind of a Fishborg loop, is why it went to 1, I think. But after the Fishborg got banned, it's like, okay, let's get rid of it. Put it at 3. It's not gonna destroy anyone. I mean, it's really, a -1 before the draw because you have to get 2 cards to get it. So I'd say it's a really balanced card. And in this deck, it's just not balanced at all. It's just much better than that. So three formula because there was a couple other level 2 synchro tuners that didn't draw, and back when formula was at 1, those cards were actually viable and were ran in my decks. And also the level 2 non-tuner is worth a mention. Don't run it. Okay. Raging. 3 Raging, yes. Black Rose. You can take any level 7 synchro. Power Tool is a great card if you're running 3 DDR. I don't know why you're running 3 DDR. No, if you're running the 3 DDR, it's because you're running the Lone Fire, double Lone Fire, Spore, Glow Up Bulb combo. You can remove. So you basically go Lone Fire into Spore, Synchro for Spore, remove Lone Fire for Spore, Synchro into Power Tool, search DDR, activate DDR, special Lone Fire effect, Dandelion, or you go and do Glow Bulb. So that's actually viable for level 7, but I haven't really seen anything like too great. I don't know if we have a Beast up in here. We do. Beast Tuner. So I guess we can bring in this Bicorn guy instead. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of doing it. One of which is you need a Beast type tuner. So Glow Up Bulb plus Vulcan is not going to work, and that's a big deal. Birdman plus a level 4 is not going to work. Comboing with Birdman is not going to work. So because I have other tuners in the deck, like even if I took Birdman out, I still think Glow Up Bulb is a big reason why we're even going into 7s a lot of the time. And the only benefit of this guy is that you can special summon it with Ayers, which is 1 card, and Ayers is really probably going to go into other stuff a lot of the times. There also is that rare case where you can like nuke the field. You nuke the field, and then you go Soul Charge, and then you do the actual field you're looking for. Because Soul Charge, you could take 5 things. And I didn't actually think of that until I started talking about this, but Black Rose is actually, you can use his effect, nuke the field, Soul Charge, Quasars. Catastor, this is crazy. Another great card with Iron Call, if you're running that. But I just had him because of Birdman, Glow Up Bulb, sometimes, if I already have Librarian out. Sometimes Glow Up Bulb is like, I don't have a choice. Sometimes I only get 1 Quasar, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna go Glow Up Bulb, sync for 5, and Glow Up Bulb doesn't work with Raging, and if your opponent decides to read the card, then you're not gonna be able to bring him out. So I just decided, a lot of this deck was beta. Alright guys, so my computer died, and now I'm back. And I have some pizza in the oven, so I'm just going to do this outro for 20 minutes, because that's how long the pizza takes to get done. I know some people really wanted this 60-minute video, so I'm going to do it. First of all, I want to give some shout-outs to you guys. I kind of got a check to my bank account for payment from YouTube, and it was $100 because that's how they do it in chunks. So I got $100 for 8 months. 8 months here on YouTube. For the last 8 months, and that's when I didn't really make a video. The first 5 months I made $150 from you guys. Obviously, again. Now I get paid that was back when you used to actually make a lot of money from advertisements and stuff, cents per click and stuff like that. But since then it's gone down a lot, and didn't really have too many viral videos like after that, this first 5 months, which was crazy. I thought I was going to be making 25 cents a day for life, but it was that was never going to happen. Or I'm sorry, $1 a day is what I was making for a lot of that. And I guess I still could do that if I just really put the hammer down and made a lot of videos. And I don't know if all of you want that, but I know some of you do. But I just wanted to thank you guys, because the first time around with $150, I got fined. I got like a $500 fine or something. And if I didn't have that $150, then I would have got another $300 civil assessment for not paying. So because YouTube came through, and for some reason I get paid to do this. You guys kind of saved me there, and I never really said anything. I thanked a couple individual people that messaged me on Dueling Network and stuff, but I didn't actually make a video and actually thank you guys and give you guys any credit. But this time around, the $100 this time was really cool, because I was actually hungry and I didn't have any food, and I don't want like any pity or anything like that, but when you guys watch my videos and when you watch the advertisements at the beginning and stuff like that, then I get a small amount of money, and it adds up. And essentially, I took the $100 and I was with my friend. I had it on my card. It was $101, and literally I only had $2 in my bank account, so that was $103. And then there's the sale on chicken noodle soup, like a big sale, like I think 55% off. So I literally bought every can of soup that the store had, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to beat that, and soup has a really good expiration date. It's pretty deep. So you guys literally fed me this last time around. I also bought some crackers, because those were really, really, really cheap as well. I think 65% off. And I like to get the sales. But yeah, I mean, it just really means a lot. For some people, $100, I guess, isn't that much. A lot of people have $100 pod duality. I don't know. I guess the pod duality is worth a lot to them, but it's just like a lot of the videos that I make do require a lot of work, but being paid $4 an hour, let's say I put in 10 hours, it's 40, so 20. Yes, say I put in $25 and 25 hours in order to make $100. Well, that's a pretty good deal for me, because I really don't do it for the money. You know what I mean? I'm making this video right now because I have 800 subscribers and 10 people really want me to make a video. That's actually why I'm making a video right now. I'm not making it because, like, oh my gosh, I really need $4 an hour. Although, $4. I mean, maybe at one point in the future, that would be like a driving force. But it's really kind of a bonus. Essentially, some videos I don't even put advertisements on my video, because I want people to not even have the burden of watching the video, watching the advertisements, because I kind of just want them to get to the videos. For example, if it's a video that I know is only gonna get my really elite subscribers to watch it, let's say if it's something like fan mail or something like that. Fan mail is when people send me mail or letters in the mail, and then I make a video and I read it and stuff. It's pretty funny. It's pretty fun, actually. So I might not have advertisements for that particular video, because it's only going to get a couple hundred views, so there's no point. And the people that do watch it, I don't really want them to have to watch an advertisement, if that makes any sense. A bigger video, it's kind of like, okay, 30,000 views, that's kind of like, I feel like if it's like a really action-filled video, I kind of need to put the advertisements to give it the anticipation of this big video is coming up. And I know a lot of people skip advertisements and stuff, and I don't get paid for those, but that's fine. I mean, that's honestly fine. I would do the same thing. So yeah. So okay. So the outro is basically thank you guys for watching my videos, clicking the ads, and giving me money, but also the comments. The comments on videos actually mean more than money. I mean, in certain cases where I'm I don't have food and I get soup because I have money, then money might be worth a little bit more than it would, let's say, on a day where my bank account's healthy at like 500, 600 bucks. But I will tell you that when I log on to my YouTube channel and I have 2 or 3, well, basically there's like this bell at the top of the top right hand corner of the screen, and it has the notifications. And when I click that, and it says like comments, and then people like share my videos and stuff. I really like that. I really do enjoy that. More than, $5. So a lot of times more than $10, right? How about we go into another Quasar deck that I have? Another version. I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, Quasar Fabled. Nope, not that one. Let's go into another version. I'm gonna profile another version. What is this? Ooh. Wow. This, whoa. The guys that stayed tell this. Wow. This is a better version. You could tell this is a better version of the deck. It's funny. Yeah, this is a more perfect version. Now, the 3 Lurrie is something I don't really like, but since there's no level leader in the deck, you can kind of justify it. The thing is, if we took out 2 Lurries for a level leader, I think it might be a better deck. A better deck. Yeah, we have 2 Ravens in here, so this is a good one. We got the Ayers. I don't really see what's different about the other one. I know we had a Monster Reincarnation in the other one, a Genix in the other one, more of him, right? And we had Tuning Ware. Wow. So basically, the 1-for-1 is still alive. It's still alive because you can go into Glow Bulb or Lurrie. But if I had to change this one, because I know this one obviously wasn't working for some reason. That's why the other one ended up working. But it's probably going to be a level leader thing, where I could take out 2 of this. But this is like Quasar Fabled 3. Like, this is the classic Fabled. Lots of Fableds. We got the 3 into the Void. So hopefully you don't mess up. We're Arfthau. See, Arfthau, the fact that I have it in this deck and not the other one is actually pretty noob. Yes, I can search Cawwww, and I can search Lurrie, and I can search Global, but there's only 7 level 1s in the deck, whereas the other one had 8 and more choices, which made this deck a lot more viable than the other deck. This one only has, I guess the 1-for-1 and the Foolish can get him out, but I mean, he's gonna be dead sometimes. Into the Void, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could see this is pretty interesting. We got the 1 Nizuchi, so you can search it. Yeah, you guys can try out this one as well. This one's a much more pure version. I guess it's a little bit more boring because there's less going on. There's less choices. Triple Ganasha is pretty interesting. Yeah. So the guys that actually watch the end is going to see this. If this deck does do something crazy, then I'm going to probably make a separate video just for this deck. But I have the utmost appreciation for everyone that watches my videos this far and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's why I don't really mind like sharing it ahead of time. But yep, this is the deck, so you can see the differences here. Well, okay, thanks guys again for being so loyal. For actually, like, there's this person who would every week, or not every week, well, 2 weeks in a row, but twice. Person's like, so when are you gonna make a new video? Like, so are you gonna make a new video yet? And here it is, man. And really, when I get 3 people reminding me to make a video, like, that's good motivation right there. When I first had 40 subscribers and 30 subscribers, I mean, my motivation was to make a good video for those 30 people, and that was a big deal for me. But it could be less than 30. It really could. There's 20 people. Well, I want to make a good video for those people. It's my job. I have that liability to do that. And I watch so much YouTube all the time that I feel like if I have the ability to give back, then I should do that, because it's a big part of my life, just watching videos at night and stuff. So yeah, any questions on the deck? I'll tell you about that. If you have any tech choices, again, I'd love to hear about that. I don't get too many tech choices or tech suggestions that often, but if there's a good one, I mean, it can really make the deck way better. So I'd like to hear about those. And yeah, anything you guys need, let me know. Any suggestions about anything. And if you message me on Dueling Network whenever, add me. I'll play with you, talk to you, whatever. That's it. Alright, guys. Blue-EyesWhiteBoiiiii, and I'm out.